Hey crafters, it's Janet with Crafting It Up in Creations, coming at you today with a Dollar Tree DIY using a mason jar ornament. Now this is actually a sign, I guess you could say, that they've had out for Halloween, and on the front side of it, it says, "I've got my eyes on you," and it's a jar full of eyes. So it's kind of cute for Halloween, but I wanted to come up with something a little bit different for any time of the year, or right now this one's going to be kind of more themed towards autumn. So I did try to spray this with a flat black paint, and I pulled off the front sign part, and I kind of tried to even use some sandpaper to sand this out, but I just couldn't get all of that up. And I thought, well, let's turn it over. And on the back side, this has a piece of cardboard that will actually pull from the back, but it won't pull clean. As you can see, it's hard to pull. And the sticker on the back of them is just as bad or worse. So I sprayed it, accidentally left this one outside overnight. But when I came back the next morning and got it from off the ground, this part actually just pulled right off very cleanly. And as you can see, that's where the sticker was, and you could still really see where the sticker had been, even though it came off decently. But this just pulled right off, and I thought that was so great. So I need to sand a little on the side where the black paint kind of came up on the side. But otherwise, this looks nice and clean. So I am going to make another one, but right now I'm going to show you what I did with the first one. But I wanted you to know that just in case, you're able to take that piece off as well. Now on this first one, I just went ahead and painted on the back of it. So I left the front of it just like it was. But as you can see, when you try to pull the sticker off the back, it just comes in little pieces. Like barely a little here, barely a little there. But I finally get the thing to come all the way off. And I end up taking some 400 grit sandpaper, and I smooth over that area until it's just smooth. Now it's still discolored. You're still going to see the discoloration that's on there. But once I paint it, you can't tell it at all. Now I used Waverly chalk paint. You can get this at Walmart, and it's in the color Crystal. So it does have kind of like a silverish blue tint to it. So I think that's a pretty good choice for just a jar. And I stir it up really good. And right now I'm just taking the excess off of the the device I used to stir it up with. It's just a piece of plastic. And I just paint the whole entire back part of this mason jar. And I've got to tell you, when I first was doing this, I really was not pleased with the coverage of it. And it kind of felt like when I painted that I would pull color from a certain spot. And then, when I went to another, it looked like it was thicker. And even up near where the lid would be, it kind of started to bubble. Almost like the paint was too wet. And I was like, oh gosh, here we go. And I thought, well, we'll wait and see, because I'll probably end up covering that area with twine or yarn or, something. So I thought, well, I'll just leave it be. So I paint the chalk paint all over the entire piece. And I kind of even had went back over it with like one last coat, because, I just felt like you could see bare spots. Not really bare spots, but just like areas where it just wasn't as thick as it was others. But I kind of go back over it and give it like one more little coat, which I guess in a sense it was like 2 coats, but I didn't let them dry in between. But that's exactly what it was. So the next morning I get up and it looks perfect. Like, you don't see any bare spots. In the area where it was bubbled up, you can barely tell it. So I guess it laid down and kind of just stayed glued. And it turned out really nice. So I'm going to take some pieces that I got from Hobby Lobby, and actually this is from their fall collection. It's a orange rope, and it just looks so pretty. This is like a little stem of flowers, and then one thing of leaves. That was the only bunch I could find in those colors, and I loved it. And then these are wood words from the Target Dollar Spot. And they do have adhesive on the back of them. Now this rope already had like a piece of tape on the end of it, which kind of holds it together. And I left it on there. So I'm going to wrap this around about 5 or 6 times and kind of hold that in place. And I kind of pull it tight. But I'm going to keep wrapping it around. And then when I get to that end again, I'm going to wrap another piece of this clear tape around it. And then I'm going to cut it so it won't unravel on me. And then the piece that's left with the rope won't unravel either. So I just cut that in half. And then I'll pull that and hot glue that down. And then I'll end up just cutting that little piece of tape off. And I kind of play with the words a little bit, and I decide I want to use thankful. Just seems like a great Thanksgiving type of word to use. And it does have adhesive on it, but I'm really worried about whether or not it'll stay. It's really humid here at times, so things just tend to fall off, especially when you put them on a front door. And these little sprigs of flowers, you can manipulate them. I got the little curly cues kind of stuck out there. And I'm still going to fool with it more even once I put it down on this board. Now I ended up wrapping it around and even just going ahead and gluing that to the back of it. But for the leaves, I decided just to go ahead and use the wire cutters and cut it off. And I'm going to glue those down as well with the hot glue. And I end up even gluing most of those leaves down. And that one leaf, I actually pull it off the stem and move it down into the other leaves, just so that the word thankful isn't covered up. And I move my beads and my flowers over as well. So I take another piece of that rope, and I'm going to kind of push it through the hole at the top. And I want both pieces to go through. And I kind of do have to manipulate it. I even add another piece of tape to it so that it'll stick out on the other side. So there I've got both pieces. And we're going to put those through there and pull it up. And I'm going to kind of pull it tight. And this is just so it'll lay against the wall flat. And then I'm going to just tie that in a regular knot. And then I'll cut those 2 little pieces off. And then I'm just going to put a dab of hot glue on it just to make sure it holds. And then I'm going to pick out, this was some sunflowers that were stickers on the back. And I'm going to hot glue those down on there as well. I think it just added a little something to it. And I was always told in card making, odd numbers are pleasing to the eye, so I chose 3 of them. And that's it for this one. I'm going to plan on doing a couple more, but I thought I'd go ahead and share this with you. And, this video is almost 12 minutes long, so I figured that's plenty long for a video anyway. But it turned out really cute. So if you have any questions or comments, leave them down below. As always, thanks for stopping by and seeing me. If you haven't already, click that subscribe button. And if you hit the bell, that'll notify you every time I upload a new video. And I plan on doing a couple more of these, but I thought I'd go ahead and share this one because it's kind of fall themed, and we've hit fall now, and I'm super excited for the new season to come in. So, of course, thanks again for watching. Y'all take care.